and we are live here with another Real News Anarchy. We have a view here of the CHAZ, CHOP, whatever the fuck it's called anymore. It's been mostly dismissed. Actually, it's gonna tie into another story we were literally just talking about. So Proud Boys actually went into, or no, sorry, they didn't. They threatened to go into the CHOP, and they packed up shop, Antifa, and left, and now are just in a tiny square around the police station. Looks like they painted the outside of some businesses, but I'm just going to keep a little live stream up here until we bring up other stuff. But speaking of Proud Boys, Gab McGinnis Discord server has been banned. Do you want to give us more details on that, Sam?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So basically, and I actually did a video on this on my channel last night, and for those of you watching on the Whitfield Reports live stream, I know that there are lots of you who don't necessarily like Gavin McGinnis, but that aside, here's what happened with the Discord. So back in um back during July of last year, actually July 4th, Jimmy, who is the former mod over there, started the Gavin McGinnis Discord, and he and I met via Reddit, and we kind of, we got to talking, and he invited me into the Discord, and it became like a real, it was a real small Discord of just like, like longtime Gavin fans, and we like started to talk and like all hang out with each other in Discord, and it really like most of us would just talk like about everyday stuff, like not even related to politics or anything like that. And like Gavin would come up as like a subject occasionally, but like mostly when we would talk about stuff like, everyday life and food, and like we even had like a fashion like section of the Discord where like you could post like what you were wearing that day. We called it faction. So um and eventually like Gavin took notice that we had a Discord, so like he like linked it to censored.tv, and like we started to get more people in there. And we did get a few people who were questionable in the Discord, like neo-Nazis, but for the most part, like the mods, kept it clean. And then about like 2 or 3 weeks ago, you know, Discord did that whole "We stand with Black Lives Matter," post
Mm-hmm.
on the system, and Jimmy and I and everyone else who were like longtime members were kind of like, "Yeah, we're gonna get screwed in this." So, long story short, like basically, it was actually on Thursday when I was on the Whitfield Report with Donnie. Jimmy texted me during that and was like, "Hey, the Discord has been terminated. Just to let you know." So,
Well, see,
um,
when we saw that Discord statement, and Discord's kind of always been lefty, and they will look, I'll be honest, like Twitter bans people like all the fucking time. Like there'll be a week where they do purges like every few weeks. Discord seems to only have done two purges really. This recent one and after Charlottesville. And the one in Charlottesville, and then look, I'm not defending this. I'm not, promoting it. I'm not condemning it or whatever. What they did do is they did kind of what they said though, which was ban legit white nationalists and like white identitarian people like Identity Europa. Now, is that the right thing to do? I personally don't think Discord should be banning anyone because they disagree with them, because I think these ideas need to be out there so we can debate them and actually change people's minds rather than pushing them further down echo chambers and they get just more radical and it's a bigger problem. But they did do what they said for the most part, seem like. But this is over the line. Like this is getting more, like you were saying earlier, guilt by association.
yeah, totally. That's totally what it is. And like I said, most of us would just go in there to just BS about like every day stuff. Like they didn't really talk about like the Discord team. Here's the thing: I don't think the Discord team like actually legitimately looked into what our server was doing, because if they had, they would have known that we were abiding by the terms of service. Yeah, maybe there were a couple of edgy jokes, and by which I mean politically incorrect jokes, but like there are Discord servers that like have some real, like some of those Discord servers can get pretty, nasty if you're
That's
not
what I
if
was
you're not
thinking too.
careful.
Yeah, is that there
And
are far worse ones out there. They're still up.
and y- and yeah, so um it's just it's because of the whole George Floyd thing, everything is getting politicized everywhere now. It's just nuts. So
Dude, even the freaking AIA, the Architectural Institute of America, is like releasing all these statements and shit, which is insane. I mean, it's just everywhere. Um, and one thing that happened too over the later last week, I think, was this whole incident with Noose car, as some are calling it now. NASCAR had this controversy where one of their drivers, Bubba Watson, not the golfer, the NASCAR driver,
Bubba Wallace.
oh,
Bubba Wallace.
Maybe you should hail this story, not me.
Okay, so I think we should give like I think we should give a good timeline as to some of the events that took place. So NASCAR, they had the Geico 500 at Talladega, and that was on Sunday. So on Sunday, that's when I guess apparently somebody noticed a noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. And so they did this whole thing. They did this moment of solidarity where they helped push Wallace's car, and and they had this nice thing that looked, it looked beautiful. It was like, oh, it's a moment of solidarity. So the race happened after that, and whatever, somebody else won. And then the FBI went and investigated the situation, and it took they sent 15 agents over there, which is, of course, it's overkill, but whatever. So then on Tuesday they said that this rope that was found, actually it was there since at least this last October. And then so then NASCAR said they were going to continue the investigation, and then released a photo saying that well, yeah, it was a noose. See, here's the photo. And that's kind of where we're at right now as far as that goes. But during this whole week, of course, Bubba Wallace was adamant that it was a noose, and he went on The View, he went on Don Lemon, and all of these sports media leftists just kind of they rushed to judgment. They were like, oh, it's a noose. They're looking to attack the only black driver at NASCAR. Come to find out that none of that was honest. Yeah. And then I look at the picture. So I look at the picture that they came out with on Thursday, right? NASCAR released the noose. It was taken by NASCAR security, apparently.
Yep, we pulled up on the screen here.
Yeah. I gotta say, that rope looks really freaking clean. That looks awfully clean for being a garage door opener, right? Because you think, like, if there's a rope, if there's a garage door pull, and it's on a garage door, it's going to be dirty just by the elements alone, right? It's going to get wet. look, you got it, like it was raining outside, which who knows when that happened. It looked like it kind of looked like it happened in the evening. That it looks like, because if you're looking at Talladega, and the way that Talladega's the way that it's positioned, it looks like that was taken in the evening. Anyway, so yeah, it looked like it was wet, and I think I was looking at the weather, like I was looking at the weather, and the only time that it rained this whole week was Wednesday, the day before the photo came out. That's what it looks like. So there's a lot. All of this leaves more questions really than answers. And I gotta say, I'm leaning toward this thing may have been staged, because NASCAR, like I forget what. Hold on, let me get this straight. So the president of NASCAR, he just took over NASCAR in like late 2008. He was talking about how he wanted to, when he took over, how he wanted to grow the industry and grow and make it more, diversity was getting a little bit of a push too. There's a lot of interesting stuff to read into this, like the that number 43 car that's owned that Bubba Wallace drives. It's owned by Andrew Murstein, who donated to the Clinton campaign, right? And then Steve Phelps, right, who's now the NASCAR president. Before he worked with NASCAR, he worked at a place called the Wasserman Media Group, which was big time tied to Bill Clinton and the Clinton campaign. So there's a lot to take in with that information, and everything just looked so convenient and well timed and well orchestrated. I don't know, smelling bullshit. What do you guys think?
Well, my first thought when I heard this, like when it was first announced, was great, just what we need, more race stuff. I'm glad that NASCAR was standing with him. And then once it came out that that it was just like a garage door pull, then my next thought was, well, isn't that kind of racist then to assume that like the garage door pull was like a noose just because it was Bubba Watson? Dan, no.
You know what? Just go with it. Just go with it.
No,
nobody knows who the fuck this guy was up until this very moment. So go ahead, name him whatever you want. I will not hold that against you.
I know that I actually have some golf fans for the Whitfield report, so they're probably going to be like,
they're going to
roasting me. But
it's not like he's a good racer either. He placed 13th in that race, and then just this last Pocono race, just that happened just recently, he placed 22nd or some shit. He's a shit racer. Anyway, whatever. Keep going, Sam.
The bigger question here is, Phil knows about NASCAR? I didn't know this. You're into NASCAR?
Yourself.
No. I'm actually not really into NASCAR at all. But when this story broke out, as you know, as you guys have known me personally for a long time,
research.
I like to do a little bit of research. Okay. And so this is the information that I came up with, and I just smelled bullshit. Like the whole time I'm just like, ugh, something just doesn't feel right. And the more I started digging, the more I'm like, where there's smoke, there's fire. And so, yeah, this is kind of where we're at here.
Yeah, I would say my take on this is, again, I'll be honest, I did not pay any attention to the story because it literally took 5 seconds for this story to go from hate crime to hate crime hoax. And when, like, what is with these fake nooses that just keep popping up? Jussie Smollett, fake. Bubba, fake. I don't think there is such a thing as a real noose in America anymore. And one thing, too, is that it's a weird thing this country is getting programmed to think. We're getting programmed to associate nooses with lynchings from, like, the fucking 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s. But when I see a noose, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not making this up. I'm not saying this to, like, act all innocent or anything. But when I see a noose, I think of spaghetti westerns. I think of, like, people getting hanged, like, in the Old West and Clint Eastwood. Like, I literally do not think of lynching. What I do think of when I see lynching is a noose hanging from a tree, or in the South or something. Then I think of lynching. But when I see something like this, I don't immediately think, oh my God, this is a noose it's a hate crime against African American. Like, no, I would, if I was there, I'd probably assume it's a fucking garage door rope. And the thing is, I know people are gonna look at it and say, like, well, it does still kind of look like a noose needs foes. Yes, but there is a knot. I'm gonna pull up the link that is very, very similar to this one, like extremely similar, and that is what it is. It's not the noose. I'm gonna find the name of the knot.
Well, it's a garage door opener. Like you put like it has a loop and like a knot, so that way you could put your hand in through the loop and then grab the knot to help you pull it down, because like not everybody can just grab a rope and pull it down, or there's
some of us are short.
Some of us are short, some of us are strong, whatever, but that's like one of those things that, and it's in every NASCAR garage. Every fucking NASCAR garage has one of those, because they're big. They're big.
Well, yeah, and the knot too is called the Bimini twist knot, for reference.
Yeah. But but my fucking beef was, as soon as it happened, right? So this whole thing happened, and the leftist sports media just went off. Like they went crazy. ESPN went freaking batshit crazy. Just everybody. Yeah, just everybody. And then MSNBC, CNN, everybody just jumped through this thing. And then the FBI did their report, and it was like, yeah, but it's still a noose. It's like, no. And then
they know about this since 2019.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it wasn't aimed at. It was like, oh, it wasn't aimed at Bubba Wallace, but it was still a noose. It's like, no, it was a garage door puller. Okay. And I don't believe that this I don't believe that this noose was there. Like, first off, I don't believe this. I think that noose might have been created later on in the week, but just to try to save face, because I think NASCAR fucked up, and then they tried to save face as a result, right? I don't think they intentionally. I'm kind of thinking that they didn't stage the event, but I think they did kind of cover it. Like they kind of did a little PR recovery once the FBI report came out, and realized that, oh no, that actually wasn't what we all were saying that it was. So now we're going into PR recovery mode. And yeah, I think that's what happened. And then of course the leftist media is still never gonna, like, and now they're saying that, oh, they were correct, that it was reasonable to assume, given our history, that that this was a noose or this was a race. I'm like, no. So if you're gonna say it was reasonable to assume that, then it's equally reasonable for me to assume that this whole thing was bullshit. Because look, the racist hoax have been on the rise quite a bit. You look at Jesse Smollett, you look at all of these other things. Michael Bennett, the other, like he said, a police officer held a gun to him, and cameras that fucking day, the day in question, showed that was utter bullshit. Like,
Jesus.
yeah, they're these things are total bullshit. And so it's, if you want to say that it's that it's okay to assume that this was an actual noose or a racist act, then it's okay. Then it's equally okay for me to assume that that was bullshit. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and what
Why-
pisses me off, and I think what the two sort of scenarios of what happened here are, number one, and this is what pissed me off, is a lot of these lefties, a lot of these people that are just, they have a certain sort of way of thinking. They see race in everything when it's not there. They will see, like, there's so many incidents. Like, there was this like fucking like white sheet covering up some like lab equipment in a college, and somebody thought it was a fucking Klan robe. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Somebody thought on Twitter, and these aren't like tweets with like 2 likes, guys. These are tweets that went viral. There was somebody that saw spray painted stuff on a street and thought it was a swastika when it was just some construction like marking. These people.
No,
see
this was manufactured.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that's what happens a lot of times is people,
Mhm.
they either see something like this guy may have legitimately thought this was a fucking news, but then,
No, no, this. I think this guy's Colin Kaepernick.
No, there's more to it. There's more to it. But he used it still. I think either way he used this. He either saw there was thought it was a news and used the race card, or got an idea in his head and was like, aha, here's a perfect time that I can use this to get my name out there. So I think it's either of those things.
No, I don't think this guy has any sort of excuse for this. I think personally, this guy did this because he's not. I don't think he's even that great of a NASCAR driver.
No, we were
I
just
think,
saying he was like, yeah, he doesn't even, he hasn't been in the top 10 in any of these races. Like,
No.
I don't think ever. Like, so I just. What's
No
up?
one even knew who this guy was like 3 days ago. Really?
Well, his whole thing was, before this, he was also the guy who championed to get rid of the Confederate flag
He
in
would.
NASCAR. Yeah. So that's what you're known for. You're a race car driver, and you're known for shit that has nothing to do with fucking racing.
For
Okay.
a second, I thought you said race card driver, and I'm like, that's actually a more accurate description.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what?
well,
That's actually catchy.
well,
I like
Well,
that.
what's funny is a Storm Wrenches in the chat here says he'll use his race card or his race card. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then he says he's no Danica. Well, to be fair, I mean, every guy at least knows who Danica Patrick is because she's Danica Patrick,
Yeah.
and I'll leave the rest of you to Google that if you're curious. But
Yeah.
Oh,
let's
we're
just leave it.
curious. All right.
You're- Yeah, she was a shit driver too. Anyway, like,
but she was hot at least.
yeah,
So
I mean,
Yeah, but you can't
You
seem to
know-
have the helmet on, everything. It's like, you see her get in the car and then you fucking change the channel, and that's it. But NASCAR,
But
though,
it's-
I have to say, like, NASCAR, this is actually, I think, a bigger thing that, the bigger picture here is not really that this is a hoax, is that NASCAR is this conservative brand that is getting thrown to the dogs. The left is trying to take away this cultural, I guess I could say, beacon as NASCAR. I mean, they are attacking every bit of conservative culture. That's my bigger issue here. I mean, look, would I wave the Confederate flag? No, but I understand why people do, because it's a Southern pride symbol. You can love it or hate it, but it's very, when you don't live in the South, you do not understand what that symbol means. Because I've heard people from the South say, like, dude, that's like the most normal flag. Fucking, there's probably there more than the fucking American flag. But these
Well,
people
it's
aren't racist.
but they're leftists now. Like, no, the people that run, like the president is is a fucking leftist, right? The guy who owns the number 43 car, he's a fucking leftist, right? You're not like the NASCAR is going through a fundamental change as far as like leadership goes,
Yeah, and
like
that's
their own personal
crippling.
leadership goes. But that's directly conflicting their fan base, like the
Yep.
people that have been watching NASCAR for years. These are, and furthermore, because like with all of this stuff that's been happening, like especially with the the George Floyd situation and all that, and these people have been saying, "Oh, Colin Kaepernick was right all along." It's like, no,
No.
you weren't fucking right. No, he wasn't fucking right.
Never was, never will be.
Never was, never will be. The thing is, like, and they're like, and now the conversation comes up again. Oh, well, Colin Kaepernick should get a fucking, he should be on an NFL team. And we've explained this shit at nauseum, right? Over and over again. And nobody, the leftist media will never run it, because the leftist they are the leftist sports media. Look, you look at it from a GM perspective, right? The NFL has a salary cap. So there's 53 players on a roster, and I have 200 and some $million. I forget what the salary cap is this year. I think it's something like hold on.
While you find that, I think
oh,
you did find it?
No, it's 209 million, right?
Ooh.
But that's for 53 players. So now imagine, let's see here. You have, I'm gonna look up. I'm just gonna look up a particular team. Let's look up the Colts, right? So you have 53. You have to be under 200 the 207 million. Like, you have to be under that threshold for all of your players.
Mm-hmm.
So your quarterback, right out of the gate, that's like your most expensive. Generally, that's like your most expensive player. He's gonna run you about a good 20 million by himself. Your left tackle is probably going to be somewhere around 15 to 20, 10, well, probably around the 15 million range, somewhere like that. So already 35 million on two players already. So now you need your like, you'll have your guard, you have your offensive linemen, you have your receivers, you got your pass rushers, your linebackers, you have your number one cornerback. All of them are getting paid. So now, do you want to sign somebody like Colin Kaepernick, who's not good enough to be a starter? He's shown that. He's like, this is in his last year playing in the NFL, he was like, what, fucking 1-10 or something like that? 1 win, 10 losses, and just couldn't win a game to save his life.
Well,
He's
no one.
not good enough to be a starter. And so my thing, and the reports were, he's demanding, around $5-10 million, which is insane to be a backup quarterback. Like, nobody's going to want to pay that kind of fucking money for you to be a backup quarterback. It's just not there. Like, you look at, because they were talking, the American Alliance Football, I think it was, they were trying to sign Colin Kaepernick, but Colin Kaepernick was like, no, I want $5+ million a year. Like, you're out of your mind.
Who the fuck do you think he is?
Yeah, like, it's, and he's been out of the league for 4 years. It's like, you're not going to get that kind of money. If Colin Kaepernick was willing to get paid the league minimum, there'd be teams busting down the door to sign the motherfucker. But there's no, like, his contract demands are way too high, according to these reports. Like, I don't know, they could be bullshit, whatever.
Well, I think the thing to note too is that for us non-sports fans that like literally don't follow it at all, we know these names. We know Kaepernick. We know now Bubba. But
Yeah.
we never knew him before, this sort of
Yeah.
social justice shit.
Yeah. But like,
Well, and that's the other thing too is like, Sean brings up a good point because what do you know Colin Kaepernick for? You know him more for the social justice black.
well, I know Colin Kaepernick because I'm a lifelong 49er fan.
Mm.
But which is bad news for everybody that's going to try to tell me that Colin Kaepernick is some fucking beacon of civil rights or some shit. I'm here to call you out on that shit. Okay.
Phil, you should have just come out as gay. That would have been much easier than admitting that
Ooh.
you're a 49ers fan.
Well, they did win the Super Bowl, right? Oh wait.
No, they didn't. They didn't. No, but here. So my thing is, he signed his he had signed some right after the last time the 49ers went to the Super Bowl. He was a starter on that team, but that team was loaded. Like that was a great. He was not the reason they went to the Super Bowl. He was that team was loaded top to bottom outside of Colin Kaepernick, and then Colin Kaepernick signed this 7-year, 120 some almost $130 million contract.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, and then after that, he just said fuck it, and like his performance gradually decreased every single year. Because he used to be like before that contract, he used to be like first one in, last one out. He was workaholic. It was he out like and then after that is like
he contracted social justice and pew.
and yeah. Well, I mean, it was like he stopped really. He only went to he only went to practices and shit when he had to, and his whole like personality demeanor completely changed, which doesn't make you appealing to somebody that wants to sign you to a fucking contract. Mm-hmm. So you're like, you didn't have to do much, and you didn't have to do much with the 49ers either. Like they were a really good team and a really well-talented team. Like anything, like look, they went to the even before Colin Kaepernick led that team, before Colin Kaepernick was on that team to the Super Bowl. They went to the NFC Championship game, like the game before the Super Bowl. They went there twice with Alex Smith, who's like a total, he's a marginal quarterback. Then they went that far with that guy. So, I think what happened was he demanded more. Either he demanded more and teams were like, hell no, we're not signing you that fucking contract. Or he priced himself out of teams intentionally to sell a social justice narrative. Like those are the two options.
Speaking of intentional things, one kind of changing gears here a little bit, but it did remind me of it. Something that's I've been seeing that's kind of interesting, but all for various reasons, but also potentially concerning, is some of the poll numbers that have been coming out about President Trump and Biden for the 2020 race. And I'm going to be very clear. I don't ever believe polls. They are bullshit most of the time. But all these polls are showing Trump down double digits. And they show Biden ahead by 1 in Texas, which I think that makes no sense at all. 0 cents. I don't buy that poll for a second. Especially when it's in the margin of error, which would totally have Trump ahead. But I am seeing people say in a bunch of articles that Trump is intentionally trying to lose or doesn't care anymore. But what's very interesting, and I even see some people in the CRs talking about this, what is interesting, you wind the clocks back to 2016, same time, same place. Trump was down the same amount of Hillary. And the media was saying the exact same thing about him then. Oh, he wants to lose. That's why he's saying all these crazy, stupid things. Oh, because he wants to lose. Even though what he was saying was perfectly reasonable and fine. But as somebody who has some insider info, to put it one way. I can tell you, the campaigns are working their butts off for Trump. I don't want that, though, to make conservatives complacent. That's what I'm worried about, is conservative complacency.
Yep.
I highly doubt they're being complacent.
I don't think so either. And here's why.
I would hope not, but
Well,
I would hope not, and I don't think so either. But that is one thing I still caution people against.
Well, there's only one number that's objective right now about this race, and is the voter turnout in the primaries. And what have we been seeing? Record GOP turnout.
Numbers.
Like staggering. Now, I know there are fractions of the right that are disappointed in Trump, that don't feel he's done enough. But I think those people are going to feel that no matter what, because these people were very hardcore. And I understand why they're that way. But my personal takeaway is this is just 2016 all over again. Trump's down the polls.
I think it's even
they're
more.
playing these narratives, but I think he has a stronger support right now.
I look at what's going on right now, and I think it's even more. I think it's more secretive. Like I think because you had a lot of this. I mean, you really did have a lot of the silent majority that really didn't follow polls.
Yes.
Yeah, they're trying to. Yeah, you're like that. These pollsters are calling you, and you're telling them to go fuck their mother and hang up on them, and and you're just like, look, and that's kind of what that's what I do. I'm like, look, you're gonna call me, or you're gonna come to my door. Like, I'm gonna be like, you got like 5 seconds to get the fuck off my property before I blow your balls off. Like, no, and like, and I'm
never pulling Phil.
Exactly. Good call. I politically register as an independent just so I don't have to get those fucking mail or the calls, man. It's so fucking annoying.
I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Bullshit.
You are literally the prime target for all that by registering independent. That is what campaigns target.
I haven't got anything.
Well, guess what, Buckaroo?
It works.
If I open up my Volunteer Connect Pro app and I see your name, I'm screenshotting that shit.
I will beat somebody's ass because I know you're suspect number one, buddy.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, they were hiding like conservatives or Trump voters were hiding in the weeds in 2016. And look, they weren't getting anywhere near the shit that they're getting now. It's getting worse now, right?
Yes.
You're talking the social media's after you.
Black Lives Matter and Antifa.
Yeah. Corporate America's after you. Like they're looking to root people out. Fucking like you're like people people are bitching. Oh, why is the silent majority staying silent? It's like, well, one, they're trying to protect what the fuck they have. First off, and two, you're not showing your hand. Like, no, why the hell would you want to show your hand so that way they can prepare for you? No, we'll oh, nice tunes there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think there's going to be even a larger silent majority this year than last year. So and you're kind of starting to see that in the polls too. I don't think even with Fox News, I can't even trust Fox News.
Yeah,
I can't. Like, it's the same. It's really the same shit, just in a different. It's with different letters. It's like I don't know.
I think
Where's our boy Jack Posobiec over here, man? I trust that shit a lot more than Fox.
Yo, Jack is amazing.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna talk about him in a second because I want to wrap this up with some other important things though. Number one, I think what you're saying, Phil, is like dead on the money, which is that the climate now is arguably worse than 16 because there is civil unrest in the streets. There are statues getting torn down. Antifa is taking over parts of cities, and businesses are putting black squares on their social media.
One of the big things too. Do not forget China. China is big play right now, right?
Yeah, that's
they
true.
They have a extremely large vested interest in this fucking election, right? On one hand, you got Donald Trump, who's trade, going on a trade war, calling this virus the Chinese virus, who's refusing to work with China right now while everything is going on. And then on the other end, you got Joe Biden, who's done lots with China.
China simp, as
Yeah,
Matt Gates called
who's
him.
done lots. Like, China has a vested interest. And with all of our with basically all of our media, social media, tech, whatever, all of that is pulling in China money. You better believe they're coming. Right?
Well, here's the thing too, is that, like I said, the climate is a million times worse right now. Like, it's insane. But on top of that, you have because I think what the left is trying to do, and it's very strategic, and it's becoming clear every day. They are working their butts off to demoralize the Trump base, and in some ways, it's working, because some people think we're demoralized, and we gotta stop that. We gotta turn that around. I think the best thing that can happen is Trump needs to do something that fires up the base, that counteracts this force, because look, we have Black Lives Matter and Antifa still in the streets. We have Trump rallies that are had empty seats, which the media spun as, oh, Trump's base is demoralized. They're not showing up. Even though that's not the full story. Jack Posobiec, mentioned him again, he was at the rally. He said it was a mostly younger crowd than usual, which tells you one thing right there. Most likely reason is the virus.
I've talked to a couple blue checkers, okay? And they're saying that they're not that they're selling a they're selling not an anti-Trump narrative, but they're selling a disinterest in Trump narrative.
Yeah, they're trying to demoralize
on social media. Well, no, they're trying to kind of they're doing it in public, and then amongst their friends, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's still getting the votes," and they're playing underground. It's like they're playing an underground game.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think both sides in many ways are, actually, because I think they know the Trump base is fired up, and that's why they're trying to demoralize it.
Yeah.
But I think too is that because I've talked to hundreds of people over these past few weeks. They're voters and potential voters and Trump supporters. And the vibes I've been getting is that people that vote for Trump are committed. I don't know anybody. I think I maybe talked to just one person that's changed their vote, which is crazy to think about. But people that vote for Trump are voting for him again. And the reason, like I said, seeing the poll numbers look bad is because they're more scared. When you call somebody up and cold call them, the first thing they go is who is this? And even when I explain who I am and I say who I work for, even then they're still a tiny bit hesitant, and I have to kind of ease them. But if you call somebody and you say you work for this far left New York Times polling company, they have your name, they have your address, they have your phone number. Are you going to tell them that you're a fucking Trump supporter? In 2020, when Black Lives Matter's out there calling you racist, when Antifa's calling you a Nazi, you're going to tell the New York Times, you're going to out yourself and say, hey guys, Target right here, at this address, you can dox me, you can burn my house down. No Trump supporter is going to do that. And that is why they don't tell people in the polls who they are.
So here's another factor I want to bring up, because I've been talking to a fair amount of, let's say, disgruntled Trump supporters, and one of the things they've been disgruntled about for the past couple weeks is, well, why hasn't Trump been cracking down on more of these rioters and domestic terrorists? What the hell? This is unlike Trump. And I'm not sure I could vote for him if he keeps being so lax. Well, here's the thing regarding the Black Lives Matter protests and whatnot. I mean, I hate to call them protests because they're not. They're riots. But I hate to use this term, but right now Trump really has to focus on optics, like or not. And the simple fact of the matter is he he can't go around just rounding all of them up right now because of the optics of it, because the media is going to spin it and say, oh, he's arresting innocent black people. Well, and to the Trump supporters are like, well, I don't care. Fuck optics. I mean, I'm sorry, but we're in an election year, and I mean, I would tend to agree with you, but
I
in
trust.
it, in the long run, we do need Trump to be smart, and I think he is doing the right thing right now. Like right now, he is going after some of the big fish,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, you can't just say, oh, arrest all of them. You need to go after the big fish,
Have you seen his
first.
Twitter literally over the past few hours? He has been tweeting out. I'll pull it up. Like he must have tweeted out 10 fucking state United States State Park criminal investigation like basically wanted posters of Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioters. He's tweeting these out. That is great optics right there. That shows law and order. That shows he's taking it seriously, and that shows they're finding these people and they're going after them. That to me is kind of that's the right move at the right time.
Yeah, like honestly, what do you expect him to really do about this? It's the Democrat cities. And he can go and say this in a rally. Hey, look, this is what happens when you vote Democrat. Your city turns to shit. I offered them help. They refused. They eat what they deserve.
It's like Machiavelli said, or Napoleon, never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he should go and help out the Democrats. Let them destroy the Democrat cities, and then people will see, hey, this is what happens. And they can't go and say, oh, well, Trump's not helping us because we're Democrat. No, Trump offered help, and you refused.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's playing it right because, like, just like with what you just said, and also, I think the reason because you're seeing a split in the party on this right now. You have people like us that think he's playing it right. But then you have people that I'm going to classify as more authoritarian that want him to crack down. Now, look, I'm not trying to be up our own side here, but aren't we supposed to be the side of states' rights? Isn't this a states' rights thing right here? Like,
I think I trust Trump. I trust Trump. I think there's a lot of ways that he can play this, and I think he can. I think he might be playing it right too. Like there's no reason why I'm going to doubt Trump now when for the last 3 years he's been like at least one step ahead of everybody. Like so I'm like, well, what's going to change now? I'm like I don't think anything's going to change. I think he's still got some things that he's he's got a good think tank. He's got a good think tank working with him. He's got a good, he's got a good network. I think it's easy for us to get frustrated, and I get frustrated sometimes too. But then I have to check myself and go, look, this guy is good at what he does. Like he is very, very, very good at what he does. Just trust the process. I have to do it, and it hurts me sometimes because you all know me. I'm a fucking firebrand. I'm like, let's crack these assholes, but I'm like, okay, he's got it. I think he's playing a little bit of the, he's sitting under the weeds. He's stalking the situation. He's gathering information, and and
to quote somebody I would normally not quote, trust the plan.
Yeah.
And I think the thing too is that what people because I'm getting a little annoyed with some people on the right. I saw somebody at CR.
What does?
Oh yeah, you coming down with the coronavirus there?
I don't know what that was.
I think you just have corona. I mean, you're in Florida and the cases are going up, so I think you got it.
Oh fuck. We'll talk about that here in a sec.
Yo, I want to actually sorry to interrupt this joke, but like Jim Jordan just tweeted out a few days ago the chairman of the Judiciary Committee called Antifa imaginary, at Mr. Andy No is briefing the Oversight Committee on Monday. Ho, ho, ho. That's fucking great. Andy No is the guy who was attacked by Antifa in that infamous video, and he's going to be fucking briefing Congress. This is epic. Oh my god, that's beautiful. But I was getting annoyed with some conservatives, and they run the CR chat, so no surprise there with getting frustrated with them. But one of them was saying, oh, I think some people are mad at Trump because of the recent Supreme Court decisions that went liberal. And I'm like, wait. Which ones? And he mentioned some of them. And I said, none of the Trump-appointed justices voted with the liberals on those. What are you talking about? Like, see, this is the sort of shit I don't get about the right now. Is they're like blaming Trump for things he literally had nothing to do with and couldn't do anything about. Like, what?
Well, now didn't Gorsuch side with them?
On one of the decisions, yes. The ones he was bringing up were the more recent, the DACA one. He was going like, oh, but the Supreme Court, you know, they are keeping DACA, and I'm like, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh both voted to end DACA and said that Trump could end DACA. Like, this is like, I don't get this like reaction. I can understand the frustration with the Gorsuch thing on the LGBT one, but like the DACA one, they all voted Trump could end it. Like, what are these people talking about?
The question too is, how could Trump even know that they're going to vote this way anyways?
Yeah, I mean, you can to some degree, like general degree, predict it because they have a record of being conservative or a record of being liberal or centrist. But like every freaking decision, like you can't control and you shouldn't. That's why we have our system.
Yeah, didn't the Republicans, approve these people? If they had any doubts, they could have said, no, we want somebody who's more conservative. So it's equally like all that Trump did was bring him up to vote.
Yeah. I will say what I hope he does do is when the next Supreme Court seat vacancies come up, I think he needs to appoint hardcore conservatives. Like, Kavanaugh is a fine one as a moderate, but I think we need some hardcore ones now to make everyone happy on the right.
Well, so
super majority.
So here's my hot take on this. So I think in a way Trump is playing from the Obama playbook, right? Because during the first 4 years of Obama's administration, we really didn't see Obama go too radical, right? And then like Obama even said this on a hot mic in 2012 when Obama was talking to the Russians, and Dinesh D'Souza actually pointed this out. When Obama was meeting with the Russians, Obama said, "Just wait until after I get reelected, then I'll have more flexibility. Then I'll have more flexibility." And yeah, Trump is doing the same thing. The reason why, in my opinion, that Trump hasn't gone like full MAGA to the extent that he wants to is because he's had this first term, right? And he's needed to prove that he can be electable. I mean, after he wins in 2020, hopefully, I mean, he'll have carte blanche to do what he wants executively.
There's a limit to that, though. It depends on the Congress at the time.
I mean,
so much he can do with executive orders, but everything else is up to
That's the big thing is if we, and this is why I'm like fucking like telling people like you gotta vote down ballot full ticket Republican, because if he does not have a Republican controlled House, his second term is going to be a rough one. If we have a Republican controlled House for at least 2 fucking years, oh my god, a second term president in a Republican House, Republican Senate with a potentially Republican majority Supreme Court or conservative majority, because there are going to be some vacancies popping up. This is make or break. This is do or die. We could have some of the best 2 years of our lives as long as you get out there and check a little box or fill in those circles.
What do you guys think about the prospect of like mail-in? The thing that I'm worried about fucking us up with voting is the whole resurgence, the whole quote unquote resurgence of Corona, which I mean, do we want to move on to COVID or
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
know.
I think we should touch on it. It's because it's coming back. I mean, I know Texas delayed the reopening a day, I think is what it was. It may seem like a big deal, but when I read it, didn't seem like that big of a deal. But Florida, Texas, a bunch of South seen some spikes. I'm worried about a second wave because I think I know Pittsburgh's actually going back up, Mr. Alex, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as the first wave, but I'm concerned about mail-in voting because I know the Democrats are going to use it to get more votes out, but this is where Republicans should disarm the Democrats and do the exact same thing. And that's what the campaigns are doing. They're going, hey, if you can vote in person, great, do it. But if you feel a tiny bit uncomfortable, you're not 100% sure, get a mail-in ballot right now and do it. We need everyone out there voting as much as we can.
Well, so here's my take on coronavirus just in general. And I mean, I know that this is going to get my YouTube stream like, probably locked in like uh processing purgatory, and it's probably going to get your stream locked too, so I apologize in advance, but I don't care.
Thanks again, Sam.
So it's interesting to me that the coronavirus spike happened in Texas and Florida. What do these two states, what two things do these states have in common?
Well, I would say Florida's a swing state, but they're both red. Let's say that.
Okay, that's well, those are two commonalities, but what else? I'm gonna give you guys.
Well, like people are going down there. Like at least for Florida, they're going to the beaches right now.
Old people in the South.
Think protest. Think Black Lives Matter.
Have they not had many there?
Correct. Notice that Texas and Florida are the two states where there haven't been any protests that have turned violent for, Black Lives Matter or any of this George Floyd shit, right? So Texas and Florida are pretty clean states. Because of that, the media can't, find anything to, say about Texas and Florida being civil unrest because there is none. Like, yeah, there are some protests here, but people are doing it peacefully like they should. There's nothing really for the media to, to drum up, which is really surprising because you would think with Miami there would be riots because, it's Miami. But suffice it to say, none of that chaos is happening here. So I think the media is reporting that COVID is starting here and in Texas because, well, Texas and Florida are the two states where nothing is really going on. So we need to make drama up so that, something happens. That's just my wild, theory, but, that's based on my observation too. So.
Yeah, that's an interesting
I
take.
get where you're coming from.
Well, what do we think? Do we think people are more worried about it, or getting more worried about it now that the protests are dying down a bit?
I don't think so. Not like
I don't think so. I think the liberals, I think the leftist fucking media is bringing it up, but no, I don't think. Yeah.
I think people are more concerned about a Christopher Columbus statue or Mount Rushmore
Yeah.
than they are about, coronavirus.
It's time to tear down the statues.
Johnny Arcade in the chat says it's too hot to riot, and yeah, that's the case. That's the case. It's been 90 degrees here, so I mean I'm not even going out during the day. The first time I went out today was at 7 p.m. So
Damn.
Well, wasn't that the old saying, like people would go and like stir shit up when it's hot though? Like it's
Yeah,
it's gonna be a hot July or
because
whatever.
you're miserable, and your sole duty when you're miserable is to make everyone else as fucking miserable as you are.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
Literally what
It-
an old home is.
It's not the heat that
Sorry,
bothers
man.
me here. It's with Florida, it's the humidity that
Yeah.
kills you.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
So-
why that's the one thing I hate about the East Coast. Like, what I do like is you have, you know, access. Like where I'm in PA, like you can go to New York, you can go to DC. It's all kind of relative. But man, the humidity sucks. That's why I love Michigan. It's like it's in the Midwest. It's nice people, nice weather, very
Yeah.
little humidity.
Florida sucks.
Lake.
Oh, it gets humid in northern Michigan though too. That's where my dad's side of the family is.
Well, it
so.
snows a lot. That's for sure. That's like the mega humidity.
Oh,
but there's
yeah.
a noticeable difference from just PA humidity to Michigan humidity. Like it is there, but it's like I'd say it's cut by like at least a third. Like it's noticeable. But Florida, oh my god.
I don't know how you do it, Sam. Like
How
I was
do you do it?
I was down in Florida a while ago. I was down in Orlando a while ago, and it was so hot, man. I'd every day I'd be waking up in like a fucking sweaty ball bath. Like it's just terrible. It's fucking awful.
Air conditioning, that's how we do. Also, because I'm such a skinny guy, I do horrible in winter climates. So it's better for me to be like I'd rather take hot over cold. And I mean, my mom's the same way, but my mom was also born in mid-July too, in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So
See, I'm very, 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 very skinny, as my pals here will always point out on this show. But even I just can't handle the heat. Like, I remember when I was down in Florida for Disney World for my band in middle school, I had to sit down multiple times, like, the first day I was there, because I just couldn't, like, it was just draining. I'm like, who wants to live here? Unless you, like, were born there, or you move there and like acclimate. I don't even know how long it takes to actually acclimate, but like if you were born there, I could kind of understand how you can handle it. But
it took me 2 years. I'll say that.
there you go. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, like I think a lot of old people like it there because their bones don't get all creaky when it's cold. So they probably like it with the warm. It's like
Well,
hot
also
yoga.
old people get like cold when it's like fucking like 70.
That's like my grandparents. Like when I used to go and live with them for like 3 months while I was an intern. Man, there was some weird shit. Like my grandma would come in, she's like, "Oh, it's too," or my grandfather come, "Oh, it's too hot in here," or, "Oh, it's too cold in here." The one would go and turn on the like window air conditioning. The other person would go and say, "Oh, it's a nice box in here." Like 10 minutes later. So it's like a constant back and forth. I don't know how they do it.
Well, it's like my one grandma. I remember like when we would pick her up, when we used to pick her up, we would like my brother and I would be in shorts, and she would always she'd be like, "Your children are dressed in like that in this weather. I'm shivering," and I'm like, like check your self-awareness. It's like freaking like 80. Like that's the thing I don't get is like, okay, you're cold, I get it, but like you should know 80 degrees for like most people is freaking hot. Like in PA, humidity in the summer
I'm cold.
with the sun.
I'm cold all the time because I'm close to death.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think that they, like at least with my grandparents, it wasn't that they were like cold all the time. It was that like there was particular like they only had I think between like 70 degrees was really where they were at. Anything like below 70 was cold to them. Anything above 70 was too hot for them. Like it had to be this perfect fucking medium. And they somehow
Yeah.
survived without air conditioning, until like recently. So
Really?
like I mean they had window units though, but like
Oh, okay. That's still AC. I mean, I know only like one person near me that has like no AC, and I'm like, dude, you nuts.
I could actually probably deal with that. Like I've dealt without AC. Like when I used to live in my apartment, I'd never turn it on because it costs money.
Well, I can
I
deal with
sort of
it
get used to
if I'm in the car and I can like drive and get a breeze. I can like manage it, but like when you're in a house, and you have direct sunlight, you know, especially my
I mean,
room has direct sunlight. It's unbearable if you don't have AC.
I always wonder why women there are so promiscuous as they are, like in Florida, because it's fucking hot. Like you would think, like all that body contact, people
Mm,
be sweating like fucking banshees out there, man. What the fuck?
stinky.
I don't know, dude. Look at like Mexico and stuff. That's pretty hot.
Yeah, I know, right? That's probably even worse, man.
Like, look at all of South America. Look at like India. How many kids and shit. You know, he
It's
doesn't
like
have anything to do with them.
you're fucking swimming in a sweat pool over there.
Well, good
Jeez.
lord, look at like sub-Saharan Africa too, man. Like they have like
Yeah.
5, 10 kids each, and like it's hotter than like a fucking, I don't know, man, fucking devil's crotch.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I was like, I was always wondering, like, because I deployed and they were telling me, oh, the locals like to fuck the animals over here. Like, I'm like, how? It's like 100 and some odd degrees, and these things are covered in hair. Like, that doesn't make no sense. Like, that's just terrible. Why would you do that to yourself?
I
Yeah,
guess
I remember
the heat
reading
makes you
this story
crazy.
about some like town. It was like a local village in like some like South American country, and like a bunch of these kids kept fucking this like I think it was like a llama or something, and then like I think it had disease like an STD, and so they had to go like warn the kids not to fuck the llama.
Oh my god.
Like, it's just like nutty, like how some cultures just accept shit like that.
As
I think it was like in Mexico too, where they have like the donkey shows where they're going like jack off a fucking donkey like in a strip club sort of setting.
why do
And
you
guys
know
just go,
these things?
I don't know, I mean, go on the fucking internet. You'll see
You
some
spend
weird
too
shit.
much time on 4chan.
Yeah, like it's a fucking real thing, man. There's some just degenerate cultures out there.
How did we even get into this topic? We were talking about COVID,
We're
and now
talking about Florida.
We were
We're
talking about Trump,
Florida.
but then
That's
we
how
went
we
to
got there.
COVID.
Like, how
All that
it's fucking hot down there in Florida. I don't know how you do it, Sam.
The fucking state's so crazy. We
insane.
went down the rabbit
Insane.
hole, the
Well,
Florida
I
man
mean-
rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, I will agree with people in the chat here. I mean, it may be hot here, but there are even hotter women here. As I've
Yeah, they're
Ooh.
easy too.
as
I'm
I
talking like they're so easy. I'm talking cheat code easy.
Oh, now you
Go to
tell
fucking
me.
State College, man. You know, the fucking Willard Preacher was right. It's easier to get a fucking hand job or blow job than it is to get a cup of fucking orange juice at Penn State.
I always
Uh,
remember when he said,
You go to any fucking college town, you get the same shit too.
dude, I
Especially-
will always remember when that man said, like, when I was walking out of class, and he goes, if you can't get laid here, you can't get laid anywhere.
I mean, he ain't fucking lying, man. It's
No.
like there's more women than men at Penn State, and you know, all these women, they're away from their parents for the first time. It's like, you know, they take that training wheels off, they're gonna fall down some pretty fucking hard edges.
Yep.
If all they did, man, the fucking state smokes, saw some just degenerate shit going on there. Man, I miss the fucking days of Yik Yak, dude. I miss that shit. Now,
oh
Steve,
yeah.
do you ever
Oh,
see
yeah.
Yik Yak when you were in Florida? Like back when you were in college, or that gone by the time?
No, Yik Yak was around when I was in high school. So
I mean, I love that shit, dude. Like there was so much just bullshit going on there.
Yik Yak, for those of you who don't know, was like an anonymous social media like website or something like that. So, but
Local
yeah,
area 4chan basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
The last time I went to, well, not, it wasn't the last time. It was a long time ago. One of my friends he's from the Panama City area, right? And then he's like, yo, you got to come down here, man. These women are fucking whores. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I'll come down there to see you, because I was still pretty, I was still young and impressionable.
Aw.
I'm not the tarnished fucker you know and love today. But anyway, no. So I went down there and we went to fucking Club La Vila. That place was pouring in women, like just fucking pouring. And it was cool too because it had that they had that little pool area and shit. Nobody was wearing fucking anything. It was just I'm like, oh god, this place is crazy because I'm used to Pennsylvania where everybody's a fucking prude. And
dude, you go to fucking I'm telling you, man, you go to State College in the dead of winter, you'll still see people in fucking fishnet and short shorts.
Oh yeah,
that's accurate.
Well, heck, that's even the case in Colorado. You go to see Boulder, bunch of hoes there. So,
dude, I will say too, it's like especially when you have colleges, you have the sorority girls, and dude, it doesn't matter rain or shine. If it's a Friday, Thursday, Saturday, they're out there in their fucking cologne tops, like fucking like short top, crop tops, whatever you call those, and shorts, and they all look the fucking same. They're all showing as much skin as possible. It's like, Jesus. Look, I'm not a prude about, but it's like, it's so, like, it's just so blatant. It's like, I know what you want. I know what you're doing. I know you're getting.
That's the genius part of the Babes for Trump movement too. With that whole thing. I mean, it's just hot sorority girls wearing MAGA hats. That's all it is, basically.
How many points does a MAGA hat make a girl hotter? How many points does she go up?
Well, I mean, what's
her teeth look like?
Well, the ones I know are all 10s, so
let's say she has normal teeth, she's got a normal body. Okay, let's say she's like, okay, let me frame it this way. A 7, how much, you put a MAGA hat on a 7, how much does she jump up?
Probably to like a 7.58. I'm trying to be reasonable here.
7.58. That's so specific, Sammy.
That is very specific.
No, 7.5 or A.
I had to mess with you on that. Now, what if it's an 8 though, and it puts a MAGA hat on? How far does it jump?
It jumps to like probably 10, probably.
Ooh. Okay.
But
look, it's got like a fucking tramp stand on like right above her asshole with a picture of like Trump's face and it says "Fire me, Daddy."
Okay. Which subreddit are you on now, Alex?
Dude, I didn't go subreddit.
Fuck that.
That seemed oddly specific. So
I bet you've seen a picture of that before, haven't you?
Honestly, I thought that was funny. OC content.
I hate tattoos, but that one, I would just be like, I'll let it slide for the night.
The funny thing is when you
said I'll let it slide for the night. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, poorly worded.
Very poorly worded. The funniest thing is,
hold on. Sorry to interrupt. Who the hell said Christina Applegate is a 10? You're fired. You're fired.
Wait, whose fucking chat is this? This better not be our chat.
No, this is Sam's chat.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Christina Applegate is not a. Yeah, no, she was a 10 fucking 20 years ago.
Sam, you can take your fans back.
She's a train wreck now.
I also want to know who.
What was she in?
She was hot and married with children, and then she got ugly after that.
Oh, that one. Oh, that's a funny show. I like that. I like that stupid sitcom.
Yeah, she's a fucking 10 on a scale of 100.
Was she the one that married the fucking shoe salesman?
YouTube admits
had like a sexless marriage.
Who does that? Mormons? Oh no, actually no, they don't. What the fuck am I talking about?
Someone does. Yeah, they're not a bunch of incels, I'd hope.
Yeah. Speaking of women, Insert 777 asks in our chat, who would you all say? Sorry, you need to correct the grammar. basically he's asking who is the most strategic pick for Biden to make for a VP. I think who he's going to pick is Kamala Harris. I'd bet money on that. Even though I don't know if that's a smart pick, though, because while she checks the demographic boxes that they want to appeal to, her background and her record for criminal justice is awful timing, given Black Lives Matter. I mean, that's something I gotta fucking talk about is Black Lives Matter in Lancaster. But if you guys want to answer that question, you can, but then we'll dive into the Lancaster thing.
Stacey Abrams in there?
No way. No. Absolute no. She's somebody gets propped up so much, but she's got nothing. It just doesn't. There's some.
She's got a tooth gap. She's got a tooth gap.
Does she?
Yeah. Stacey Abrams. You could park a fucking plane in between those things.
Oh, yeah, look that up. I haven't paid much. Oh, fuck, you're right. Whoa. What is going on there?
She's probably auditioning to be Bugs Bunny. Like, holy shit. And, they'll say that she's, like sexy at any size, #slipe, and they're like, oh, Obama, or not Obama, Trump's morbidly obese. Like, okay, buddy. Put those two on a fucking teeter-totter and see which one gets launched in the air. It'll be fucking Trump, because he does not outweigh that.
That thing is huge. Oh my god. Wow. I gotta say, guys, this one picture, she's massive. But I wanted to talk about that.
You ever see that movie Norbit?
Nope.
Oh.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, that's her. Someone should look at her Wikipedia page. Yeah. No, not really. Don't do that, folks. That was a joke.
Yeah. Joke media. Don't take us out.
They have her as like Superwoman. Like, nah.
Oh yeah, that shit was fucking stupid. When then
Patty Newton's still fucking hot though.
Oh, let's check this out. Patty Newton. Fatty. Ah, gotcha. I got Fatty.
Still hot. She's on Westworld.
Oh yeah, her. Yeah, that's that. No wonder why that name sounds familiar. Yeah, she does look hot in Westworld. 47.
Yeah, she was on Norbit. She was on Norbit too. She was the love interest of Norbit in the movie.
Sam, did you ever check out Westworld actually? Because I recommended that to you.
I need to watch Westworld. I just finished Homeland last night finally.
Oh, what'd you think of that finale?
It was interesting. It did not end the way I mean, it kind of went the way I thought it would, like in parts, but like the very end was interesting.
I think that season was solid up until the last moment of the penultimate episode where the Russian dude tells her to do you know what with Saul, and that was just to me way too ridiculous. I'm like, she would never do that, and then she actually starts doing that, and I'm like, that's totally out of character.
Yeah, that was out of that was a little weird. By the way, Claire Danes is a solid 7, I would say.
Ooh, I'd say 6.5.
She was hotter 20 years ago. So
I think she was better looking when she was a brunette. Changed my mind.
Well, she was hot. She was hot in My So-Called Life. That was the show, right?
I just know her from the Terminator 3 and Homeland.
Yeah, My So-Called Life. That was the one.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, shit. She actually looks quite different there. Holy shit. Interesting. But yeah, I did predict the final sort of part of the finale, because I saw them laying the pieces to that in the penultimate episode, and then the final one. I was like, I think she's gonna start doing this to kind of, repay Saul, and then that's what happened.
I guess Mandy Patkinson or whatever his name is
Mandy
actually like Yeah, Mandy Patinkin. I guess he's a real like prick to work with in real life, though. That's what I've heard. Like no one can stand to work with him
Oh, really?
for whatever reason. Yeah. So
How do,
I
how do people get to that position where they can like just be fucking assholes to work with? Were they always that way, or they get like
well
turned when they see Weinstein's flaccid cock and it just sucks?
well well he was also on Broadway too. So when you're
And
on
Criminal
Broadway,
Minds.
when you're on Broadway, those Broadway actors tend to get like big egos about themselves. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking can't stand people with like egos bigger than the fucking moon, man.
but also, I mean, one of my favorite actors and one who I get compared to a lot in terms of looks is a fantastic actor, and he's great to work with, and that's
Keanu?
even that. Well, why thank you, but no, I get compared to Damian Lewis a lot.
Oh, Damian
So,
Lewis is awesome. He just seems like the coolest dude ever.
so yeah, he's a.
What do you think of this recent season of Billions?
I need to catch up on. I need to watch the new season of Billions. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Is
So
that
what is right? Broadway is gay.
Yeah.
Dude, like, okay, question time. This is gonna get us in trouble. Why is it, and this is, you see this in high school, why is it that most of the guys in theater are gay?
Well, I don't think it's most of them. Like a lot of people who are gay are in theater, but not all the guys who are in theater are gay.
I
You get a
think
lot of
like
weird-
in the Broadway sense, yes, but like in high school, I mean, maybe it's small world, but I kid you not, like every single guy except one I can think of, and I'm not talking about the stage crew, I'm talking about like the actual performers. There's one guy, okay, he was probably bisexual actually. I changed scratch that. I think they all were all rainbow people, let's say. But what is it that attracts them to that? Like, and I'm not trying to stereotype, but like, it's a
They
thing
get
I
to
know.
dress up. They get to wear makeup. They get to act. It's like a fucking drag show without the drag.
Well, why are there certain theater kids who are gay but pretend not to be gay
Yo, dude, I
and,
knew someone like that.
and then go to Hollywood for like 20 years and pretend to be comedians and then spiral. How did
I know there are a lot
Helen
of people that
Benjamin.
like pretend. There's a lot of people that pretend to be gay so they could get like acting jobs and shit. Because they favor people like that. Like, yeah, because it's like, because they don't want to, like, if you're gay and people turn you down, then they're like, oh, they're the gay bashers that wouldn't fucking hire the gay dude. So it'd be like, oh well, yeah, you get a lot of that shit.
How many
Yeah,
gay people were in your school? Like, holy shit.
There weren't a lot, but like, okay, let me put it this way. My first year of high school, I could think of a few. By the end of it, like a shit ton came out of the closet. I know one like came out like after a theater performance. He was like, "Hey guys, big announcement. I'm gay." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Now I know." Didn't actually ever suspect it of this person, but look, I have nothing against that at all. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know, like, why is it that there's this trend? I mean, we didn't have a lot. Like, my school, it was, I don't want to say it was diverse, but like, it felt pretty representative of the country. It was mostly white, but there were a good chunk of minorities, like there are in the country. There were some gays, there were some trannies, there was like everything there.
Jeez, yeah, we did not. Yeah, trannies would not have gone over well in my high school. Holy shit, dude.
We had like two or
One guy
three.
who I'm like who's gay now and who everyone knew was gay, but I don't think flat out said it. But they fucking know.
Well, we
We
had
had like
one.
one girl who probably ate more carpet than the rug doctor, but I don't even know. She might have been bisexual. I don't know, but that was like the gay community may have been like 3 people.
Well, we
My
had
high
this one dude that was like a really nerdy guy. Like, think of like your stereotypical nerd. I would never suspect of what happened to him, but like I always knew he was kind of decent. Like we were kind of okay with each other, mutual. But like near the end of high school, I saw like um uh what's it called? Not nail not lip. What's it called when girls paint their nails? I'm losing it. Nail polish. I saw nail polish on his fingers. I thought it was like some sort of joke or prank, and I was like, oh, nice fingers you got there. And I said it's like a joke, and he like didn't really say much.
You're such a homophobe, dude. What the fuck,
I
man?
didn't know. I didn't. I swear.
Report to the principal.
No, I couldn't.
We don't tolerate your kind of homophobia over here.
We
Yeah,
don't
no, like-
serve your kind of hate speech here.
Yeah, that's like fucking nutty, man. Like,
I didn't
Yeah.
realize, dude, because, like, no, a little more context, though, was like, he was dressed like a dude, and he just had painted fingernails, so I thought it was like a joke or something, so I was like, I was like, like, pretty nails you got there, or something like that, and he just didn't say anything, and it was kind of like, okay, and then fast forward,
He's probably calling to his mother crying. You wouldn't believe what this guy said to me. It was so horrible.
oh, man, I was already being a horrible person back then, I
worked
didn't
on
even
my
know it
nails
yet.
really hard, and it was just not cool.
He crushed
Well,
me.
Well, listen. Here's the thing: if someone's gay, I don't care if they're gay. Just be gay. The
Yeah,
thing
don't-
that
Don't pretend to be it. Like,
Yes,
don't
be
pretend to
real.
be it. Like, yeah, just
well,
be
I don't
you.
like gay people, but like once you start getting all in my face and like walking around with like a fucking dildo on, that's when I have a fucking problem.
well, that, or if they go the opposite and are like, I'm not gay. You're the gay one. Everyone else around me is everyone else is gay.
Is that what Owen said?
Dude, Owen now thinks that the Holy Trinity is gay.
I don't know.
How
Like,
does that
see,
work?
I honestly think that dude has like a mental condition. Like, I almost feel bad for like, making fun of him.
Yeah, I
'Cause I
know.
honestly think he had like paranoid schizophrenia or something. Like he's not right in the head.
Well, dude,
Well,
just look at him. He looks crazy.
Well, I would feel bad, except for the his cult actually did try to come after me SJW style. So,
Well, to have an epilogue or conclusion to my awful hate crime story, I found that guy at Penn State, like I think in my freshman or sophomore year. I'm like, he looks familiar, but his hair is longer, and his clothes are more feminine. And then I realized, oh, he went trans.
Flip mode.
oh,
That reminds me when I was at Penn State York. Like it was one of my first days, and my friend, he was still like he ended up dropping out later, but like we were watching, like, oh look at that ass, and like you see the face turn over, and it's a fucking dude. And I'm like,
You're like, yeah, you want to tap that now?
I gave him shit for that for a while.
It's so crazy because it was something that I started off joking with him about, and I didn't realize that those were the early signs of a dude going trans. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? People I knew 3 years. Look, people change. I've changed. We've all changed. I didn't expect this. This is like a transformation.
Oh, I have one of those fucking stories from Penn State, man. Oh man, I knew like one. Actually a couple, like both of these involve the same club.
Oh, really? I
Going
know
to
what
a
you're thinking of.
club, checking her out, like, oh, she's hot. That Adam's apple's fun. Oh wait, oh geez, oh my god. No.
Dude, that's the worst too. Is like when you're checking somebody out and like you're like, they're pretty fucking hot as shit, and then you're like, wait a second, I've been fooled me once, fool me twice.
See, that's why I never want to go to Thailand.
No, you do not want to go. You do not want to go. Well, I mean, Thailand's cool if you like. Just stay away from Soy Cowboy. Stay away from Soy Cowboy. That's what it's called. It's like the area in Bangkok that's like, Yeah, it's the area in Bangkok that's like that's full of those he-she's.
Oh,
From
Al.
what I've been told, this is my plan if shit ever really goes bad here. If shit ever really goes bad here, I'm fleeing to Australia. So
You know what? I like Australia. Especially especially, and not just because the women are super freaking hot, but and because they're the Florida of the Southern Hemisphere, but politically they're actually cleaning up quite well too, because I think they've had a couple of they've had a couple investigations, and with a couple of their government officials with ties to China or something like that, which is like they're looking to clean up. I'm like, when the fuck are we gonna do that shit? Because everybody here has fucking got ties to China.
Well, the thing with them is they're right next to China. Like it's a whole nother fucking level over there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like my friend, he has like relatives who live in, I think it was like Perth or something. And he went down there. Everything is so fucking expensive down there because like they don't have that much farming land over there.
Yeah.
And like the housing market, like unless you live in the outback, which you don't want to fucking live in the outback, the housing prices are like insane. And the internet reception outside the cities is like worse than third world countries.
Jesus.
So like,
I wonder why
and
they
on
got butt of
top of
every
that, too,
joke.
like they have some of the most nuttiest fucking gun laws where they regulate airsoft guns like fucking rifles.
What?
Yeah, like you have to have a license
What?
to own an airsoft gun, and if you shoot at someone, that could be considered like a firearms offense.
No, you got to get a knife, right? With like
A butter knife?
like the one like on Crocodile Law. That's not a
You know
knife.
the story
This is a knife.
You know the true story behind Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah, just drop the red pill.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like some dude, and they were trying to go and ban all the guns, and that guy, like, he had enough, and he went fucking postal on them. If I remember that right. Someone's got to fact check me on that, but I heard that from somewhere.
You mean you read it on the internet and you believed it?
I've heard it from a few different places. Like, it's some dude who's like, fuck this. Screw the optics.
Fuck the optics, I'm going in.
Fuck optics, man.
Can I actually say something about the optics debate? Look, I hate when people think optics are everything and optics are nothing. It is neither case. Optics are important, but you shouldn't let them cuck you. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. But I mean, I think that's the case with anything in politics. Like, look, the border is important. Is it the only thing? No.
And Coulter would disagree with you on that.
Yeah, well, and Coulter is I mean, I like it. I like him, Coulter, but
whack job.
Yeah, I mean,
like, and I'm not saying to be mean, but like,
she's a bit of a wacky.
Yeah, no kids, not married at this age, and is in politics.
Red flags.
Who the fuck does that? And look, she's solid on a lot of things, though.
Your cats. Where the fuck are your cats, man? You should be feeding them.
And how many of them? How many? Do you have all the bowls out? But I think she does what she does do. She's pretty good at, but like I think recently she's just too hardcore, and she comes off as kind of like a Karen, rather than what she used to be. Speaking of that, as you all know, my mother's name is Karen, and she actually brought up today the Karen meme, and she's like, yeah, you probably know how I felt over the past few months about that meme. I'm like, oh, it's okay. You got a meme named after you.
She didn't realize that she was, and it was at that moment that Karen didn't fail to realize that she was being a Karen. So.
Well, the thing is, she defined the meme. She was like, "Oh, because she was trying to explain to my dad, and she's like, being a Karen is when you're like a white privileged woman, and you're I think she didn't even say complaining. She was like, and you're like yelling or making a big deal about something. And I'm like, no, a Karen is just like somebody that fucking like complains over something like silly, you know? It doesn't have to be white.
Well, also people forget that that whole meme partially started because of Goodfellas, because
Oh, really?
Henry Hill. Well, yeah, because Henry Hill's wife in that movie, her name is Karen, and so basically, Goodfellas is like a famous gangster movie, um, and
Great
like
movie.
and Henry Hill's wife Karen, like she's Jewish, and at first, like she objects to what Henry does for a living, but as soon as the cash rolls in, like she starts to change her ways, and like
Wow,
she's
what are
okay.
they trying to say there?
So at the end of the movie, and I think this is kind of where the meme comes from, they she like Henry eventually gets into like dealing cocaine because it's the 80s and whatever, um and they're about ready to get busted by the FBI, and Karen like flushes all of the coke down the toilet, but the FBI didn't know to look there. So there's the scene where Henry just goes off on her and is like, Karen, what? Why did you do that? And she starts acting like all snobby, and she's like, oh well, I didn't know. So I think that's where the meme might have come from. So
I think it's just like a generic name because like most people aren't named like Karen anymore. And it's like, I don't know, the older generation. But speaking of shootout or like police involvement, I did find out the true story of the Crocodile Dundee. It was not involving like gun control; it's involving meth.
Wow.
Yeah, he like,
so
got high on meth, and like he thought his kids were abducted by Freemasons, and he had a shootout with the police.
So he's red pilled.
You know what sounds like that one guy you have a problem with? That one dude who's got the cult.
oh yeah,
Nick?
oh
Is he
yeah,
Nick Fuentes?
no, Owen.
Oh, Owen. Yeah, that's shit.
Sounds like that shit.
Same. Look, there's so many cults now.
Although to be fair, I mean, can we just admit that the Gripers are a cult at this point?
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely. They're so
like
culty.
so. I mean, honestly, I think they're actually worse than Nick at this point too.
No, his
so.
fans are worse than him. Like,
Yeah.
I think Nick. I mean, when I talked to Nuance Bro about him, like Nuance Bro said that, yeah, Nick's actually a nice guy, but the Groypers are just like his fans are toxic as hell. And
You think the Groypers more like grifters?
that's I'd say a good chunk of them, yes. Because here's the other thing. They love to call other people grifters all the time. And I think these people, I don't know if some of them start off as grifters or became grifters because they've done things and said things that have totally just fucked their lives over. Like, they're not going to get real, normal, well-paying jobs, a lot of these people. So what are they left with? They're left with keeping up the crazy shit they've done. So they're stuck in that sort of sphere. And I think when push comes to shove, they might have to grift a bit to get somewhere, to get more money, to do something. And I don't know, they're very I'm kind of sometimes interested in these little culty movements. That's kind of why I follow them to a degree and watch what they're doing. But man, they are just they're never going to become a mainstream significant movement. It's just never going to happen. Will some of their views maybe, yeah, but like, is everybody going to become a Groyper overnight? No, but they are definitely growing, and I think people should take note of that.
What's even weirder is when the cults like start fighting each other, like when
That is actually funny.
when Owen's cult started fighting the Groypers, it was hilarious. It was actually hilarious to just sit back and watch them these two groups fight each other. So it was it was just like the news wars scene in Anchorman. So only with the internet.
Well, did we see that Jack? Speaking of attacking, did we see that Jack Posobiec was attacked by Antifa when he was in D.C.?
No, but I'm not surprised. He's always getting attacked.
Oh, hey, Donnie.
Hi guys.
Hey, how's it going?
It's okay. I had to deal with some weird stuff earlier, and then I was talking to my dad because there was weird stuff going on, and then we started talking about Trump and politics, and then now his phone died while we're talking, because when I called him back, it went straight to voicemail. My dad didn't hang up on me.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, we've just been kind of shooting the shit here, talking about all kinds of current events.
Oh yeah.
Like other
Oh yeah.
tangents.
We've been talking out everything pretty much.
Oh my God, I'm so behind. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, it's
But
fine.
I made it 2 hours later.
It's all right.
But honestly, the conversation with my dad this time is a little different than the other times, and I don't want to say on air. He may hear it one day, but he might vote for Trump. I might be able to convince him because there's a lot of things he didn't realize, and explaining things and asking a lot of questions like why is this one person being attacked? Like, we are both anti-bullying, so like, like when everyone's attacking someone, like we should ask more questions about that, right? And I'm like, Dad, and I'm explaining all this. I'm like, so you would vote for Biden over Trump? Biden clearly has dementia, okay, over Trump. And you know that Biden, you don't know who's actually the president because Biden's not going to be really the president. And so it was a great conversation, actually. Like,
Well, actually,
he's still on the fence, but I think I could possibly keep showing if I can get evidence in his face next time, like actually prove it and like show it to him instead of just talking about it. I think we might be able to make some progress.
that's good. I mean, that's how, honestly, one of the few ways you can persuade people is just by having conversations with people that you're comfortable with. If you're like a total stranger, it's sometimes more difficult, but when you're like a friend or a coworker or a family member, that sort of connection can really help.
Yeah, and then like, and the thing is really cool because you hear all these stories about people like their family shunning them, and I can still have the conversation with my dad even though he doesn't agree with me. Like, he's one of my best friends. We can still have the conversation, and like we don't like attack each other personally. We're attacking the actual issues. I'm giving examples like George Floyd. My dad, I think what was presented to us that that cops should be in trouble. But like at the end of the day, he shouldn't be praised the way he is. My dad agrees with that. But like but I guess I also came off kind of like Candace did when I was like, he's a piece of crap person. Like, okay, but what happened to him was wrong. But like, he wasn't a person we should be walking around as if he's Jesus either.
It's ironic because the leftists turned down Columbus statues for a similar reason, or they claim to be. They're like, Columbus.
And Grant.
Yeah, and Grant and even Jackson they were trying to do, and eventually they're going to do Jesus. I can see it happening. They're like, what was that?
I heard they already were like the European picture of Jesus because he was white or something.
Yeah, there was something about that going around, but they literally go like, oh, Columbus, yeah, he found the he was the first man to step foot in America, yada yada yada, but he raped people and he murdered people, and I'm like, you're probably right, but you guys propping up George Floyd and making murals of him, even though he did awful things, but you don't want to tear that down.
I told my dad too. I was like, Dad, he's talking about the Confederate flag and all this stuff. I'm like, but Dad, the thing is that's historical and it's there. And I said, why is it a problem now? All this time it was okay. All this time, all these things have been up for over 100 years. Why now? If they thought it was so bad now, why not back then too? It's a political game. I'm explaining to him. He goes, no, it's not. It's political, Dad. It's an election year.
Speaking of elections, I had the pleasure of being at a protest of Joe Biden's visit to Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. And
A protest?
yes, the reason I'm bringing it up is
Ooh.
because it was actually interesting to see. I mean, I've seen Black Lives Matter before firsthand, but seeing them in this climate firsthand is actually interesting because
I'm happy you brought them up, by the way. My dad is against them. Okay, that's all I have to
there
say.
you go. That is definitely he definitely has some hope then.
Mm-hmm.
So
And he didn't know the money was going to Democrats either.
yeah, see that's again, if you expose these groups and people see for what they really are, they might start changing their minds and seeing the real what the real intentions are here. But Biden was coming to visit this school to talk to patients of Obamacare or something, whatever, families of Obamacare. It was like very vague. And he was supposed to come to school. So the Trump folks arranged a protest of his visit. And so I go, and they're there. There must be about 50 of them holding signs, chanting USA, Trump, 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 and all these positive stuff. And there was a Hispanic guy there. There was like I think it was Hispanic, but he was having a ball. He just loved it. And there was a Hispanic woman. I think there's a black guy. Like it had like, it wasn't just straight white male like the media thinks. There were women there, and they were there for quite a while. And then out of nowhere, Black Lives Matter shows up. And it's not just one. It is 10 of them with prepared signs, and then 10 more come, 10 more come. And there must have been 50 or 60 Black Lives Matter there. And
Protesting Joe Biden?
that's where it gets interesting. Because when I was there, they were yelling at us. They were like, fuck Trump, you guys are racist, fuck you, fuck. There's this one girl, I gotta find a video, it's actually hilarious. She has this like megaphone, and she's like, it's a meme, like in the making. Like I was seeing a meme in real life. She's like, Black Lives Matter. She's like screaming at the top of her lungs, and she's like falling onto the street, like as if she's like dying. And like,
oh my.
And then the cops come. Okay, the cops come. And actually, wait, two things. I got 1 o'clock back because I forgot about some funny shit. And then I'll answer your question about the protesters. But because I have to explain the context for this, because it is an interesting thing to observe. Because we see them come, they start saying this shit. But as they're there, I kid you not, a fucking semi-truck comes up. And it is covered with Trump, Make America Great Again. It had Steve Bannon on there. It had Freedom Isn't Free on there. This motherfucker, this mother trucker comes up, parks in front of the protesters with his truck, and just gets out. Is like, yeah, I'm here, bitches.
I love him.
My base trucker, I gotta find who he is. He made my day. He just pulled up and parked. But the cops eventually had to move him, but he was there for quite a while. But as he came, and as he sat there, the cops brought out fucking cops on horseback. There were 3 of them. Because Black Lives Matter was on the other side of the street, and we were on one side. And so they came to kind of stay in between and keep us separated. Because Black Lives Matter kept trying to come over and like yell at people's faces. And it almost got violent at the end. It came really close to being violent.
Wow.
But everything stayed pretty calm for the most part. But they started bringing out speakers, playing Fuck the Police, and a microphone, started yelling at people. It was really intense. It was getting really intense, and it almost got violent. And they had to hold their own people back. But the funniest part, and this answers your question, is that we thought they were yelling at us and protesting us. We thought that's why they came there. They actually came there to protest Joe fucking Biden.
Yeah.
Is it on camera?
This is all on camera. I have videos and pictures.
You have to send it to me. You have to.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. It
And
is
then
something
I,
else.
I have a question for Sam really fast. Sam, when we talked last time, right? Didn't I
Yeah.
say that Bernie Sanders is behind this? And why does Bernie Sanders have more money in the Black Lives Matter part, by the way, than Biden? And man, this is Bernie's people, because if they're going
It,
against Biden,
it's
this is more proof for me now.
it's not just Bernie's people though,
But
Donnie, though.
why?
It's I'm assuming you know who George Soros is, right?
So did George
Or
want Bernie
Society
then?
Foundation. Yeah.
yeah,
So that what is so George wanted Bernie, because remember I told you I feel like Obama wanted Bernie, really. That's why it took so long for him to endorse Biden.
well,
And if you think about like Cardi B, there's a picture of Cardi B and her husband with Obama's daughter. Like, and Cardi B endorsed Bernie. That's the reason why I feel like Bernie is behind it. Tara Reid, Bernie's people, not Trump people exposed that. Like that's why I think this is Bernie, all Bernie. And the whole communist thing, but Bernie is the communist. You know what I mean? I think Bernie is Bernie. That's what I think. That's what my opinion is.
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with Soros is I don't think he's like with any one particular Democrat. I mean, George Soros is basically like a James Bond villain, but in real life.
He is
I
Spectre,
mean,
basically.
yeah.
But why like have them protest Biden then?
Well, here's the thing too. I will back up what you said because there were a lot of Bernie Bros there with Bernie Bros shirts and everything. I'm gonna send you the videos and links right now. It's
Thank you.
fascinating to see how they're, even though the Republicans are having some infighting, the left is having way more infighting, and their base is tearing each other apart. Like when I was told afterwards that they were there to protest Biden, I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, we actually have common ground here. We agree with each other.
You guys should have worked on that. Like, if you could
Sean
exploit
King,
that, holy shit.
Sean King is not for Biden, so Sean King's for Bernie. So that's another thing. You know, when he spoke out and said what he said about the Democrats, I think it was because they're mad that it was freaking Biden instead of Bernie. Now that makes more sense now, because a lot of those Black Lives Matter people, those hundreds of people who are attacking me, when I was scrolling through their pages and stuff, I saw Bernie stuff. I saw AOC stuff.
Well, Black
And then
Lives Matter. The
AOC
people that run
admitted
that
that
Black
that
Lives
she
Matter
messed
work.
with, and then AOC admitted that she had the whole trolls messed with the number of people who came, I guess. But she said that herself. She's Team Bernie. This is Bernie. I told you Bernie's the evil one. the on the surface evil one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys need to figure out how to exploit that, because if you both have a common enemy, you guys could go and use that to your advantage.
We could, and it's like, it'd be hard because they were literally like shouting in our faces that we're racist and all these awful things. And we're like, they're like, we hate racism. And we're like, we do too. We hate Joe Biden. We do too. It's like,
This is breaking news, you guys. Y'all gotta like screen record this part of the clip and share it.
yeah.
Like on your social media.
What you need to
Breaking
do
news.
is to go and like hide and like maybe have like go under a false flag. Make it not so it's like the Trump supporters. Make it so it's like people against Bernie or something.
Yeah.
You know, or like Lancaster against Bernie, so that they wouldn't necessarily fight you and they'd have way higher numbers.
Oh, and
Yeah,
apparently
because
too.
honestly, Bernie had a better chance than Biden. Bernie had a lot of supporters. He had the black people. Bernie Sanders had a lot of women. Bernie Sanders had Hispanics. Bernie Sanders had the support. But then Biden got it.
Apparently
Yeah.
too is when I read this letter from some local reporters on the scene. Biden only let in New York Times and a bunch of big name left-wing outlets. Local reporters were not allowed into the event that he was having. All of them were like blocked.
He's an elitist.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what the Republican Party should be doing. It's like you should have like a black ops wing that goes and like tries to go and foment disillusion within the Democrat Party.
Yes.
Well, I
like-
mean, there are. I mean, look, you got didn't Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum, didn't they come out with like a documentary recently?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I saw advertisements. Uncle Tom. Yeah, it was like him, like
Yeah.
the elder. I keep seeing advertised on Beaver County Radio.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a actually Larry Elder's project. I thought it was Candace's at first.
I've actually met Larry Elder before. I think I failed to mention that when we were on air. So
Yeah, you
Nice.
did. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I didn't.
yeah.
It's rated fairly high too on Amazon.
Really? How'd they allow that?
9.8.
Shit.
Maybe next week we can go and like review it or something.
Yeah.
Maybe we should. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm posting the clips, Donnie, in the Twitter, like, 3-way, 4-way chat, whatever it is that we've had with
So you
Phil.
posted
And
it already, so then I can retweet it.
yeah, I post all the links there. There's a bunch of
Okay.
them. There's like 2 tweets from my Lancaster account, one from Rona McDonald. They got retweeted by the president, by the way. I will say, I was actually didn't realize this at first. Rona McDonald, who's the RNC chairwoman.
Wait, wait, are you?
Ronald McDonald.
Not the fucking McDonald's mascot.
Are you shitting me? That's the guy's name.
Her name is Ronna McDaniel.
Oh, okay. If it was Ronald McDonald, that would be some funny shit. They would be getting fucking canceled by now.
Well, if you go on her Twitter, she got a video from someone. Let me scroll down, find it. I'm showing this live, and it's a drive-by video of the protests in Lancaster, and she got good traction on it. But then the president retweeted it, and I'm like, oh, cool, he's retweeted our protest, and I didn't realize till looking at it today that I was actually in the fucking video. I was like, Trump just retweeted a video of me? What?
What? Tag me in that one too. Tag me in that too.
Yeah, I posted that one in the group chat. You can't really see me though because I had a fucking sign in front of my face, so.
But he's still there.
I've had a few people like tweet me and say that they've been sending my videos to Rush Limbaugh, so
Nice.
you know. I don't know if anything.
That's awesome.
I don't know if anything will come of it, but you know.
But just hope it does.
Yeah, hopefully I can get to meet him before the cancer goes. Like,
is that video public now?
Ours?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the stream has been up, but YouTube keeps like hiding it from people's recommended.
Before it even started, I started watching it beforehand, so I don't know if it might just be something else.
Can you resend it? Can you remake another post on it so I can retweet it again? Because when because when I posted it, it wasn't available. And
yeah, well, I will also send you a link to the audio podcast too, because there's I audio podcast all my streams too. So.
Oh yeah, so I guess to update that on our end, our anchor.
Yeah, Sean. Someone's been slacking. I can't afford YouTube Premium just to listen to you guys in the background. So
yeah, that's some bullshit with YouTube. It's like in order to watch videos like picture in picture or to have the audio play in the background, you gotta pay for that. I'm like, that's some bullshit.
It's not that you have to pay for it. What pisses me off is the fact it's like $16 a month for it.
That's more
it's
Netflix.
Like yeah, it's like
you can't see the value, you're not gonna give me my money.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam, by the way, I told Phil this earlier. I was like, you know what? You asked me about, if I could, push or support anybody on the left, right? Like anybody, just a little bit. And I was like, no one. And I was like, I felt bad because, I should have said Vernon Jones. And I actually, spoken kind of to him, my inbox personally before. I feel kind of bad because I forgot about it. So I wanted to say that now.
What? I couldn't. You broke up there a little bit.
Remember you asked about if there's anybody on the left at all, and I was like, nope, no one, zero.
Oh.
And I
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
Vernon Jones, and I completely forgot, like, brain fart.
Was that
Like if
the
there was anyone
guy?
possible.
Yeah, was that the guy that proposed that bill and he was saying like, attacking Trump supporters is a hate crime?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know he supports Trump. That's all I know. For the most part, that I'm gonna share today. That's what I know. Is
Yeah,
that he supports Trump. That's
I think
it.
that is the guy that because he was trying to push something
In
that
Georgia.
said that that attacking Trump supporters should be a hate crime. Yeah.
Can I say
It should be.
that was one of the
I
best
agree.
tweets in a long time because it was a Democrat black guy saying it about Trump supporters. I mean, it just
And he
shatters the
love it.
narrative.
Yeah.
And it got good traction. I mean, it was well worded. It was well crafted. Very persuasive.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
but
just perfect.
Donnie's saying that VJ might not be the guy that we might think. Is that what I'm getting?
Mm.
Well, I was gonna leave that part out. I'm just gonna say that I support the fact that he supports Trump.
Yeah.
I don't everything
That's
else
a good
that
call.
he has going on. I don't know everything else.
Yeah.
I'm just leave it at that. But
Yeah.
I will say I like him and the lady. I can her name. I think is Karen actually, who thanked Trump for being a part of her life being saved with that medicine. Those
Karen,
two on
what's
the
that?
left, I like them.
Yeah, and
She
that's
had
the
a-
thing I want to make clear is that this Vernon Jones guy, I know nothing about. I just know that tweet, and I just like that tweet. That's it.
Yeah, I would support that he supports Trump.
Yep.
But I do feel bad that I didn't think of those two when Sam asked me that question. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was
I thought about
definitely
it today too. It was like 3 days later.
Oh, better late than never. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, what about that H-1B visa ban? Or
Yeah,
whatever
sure. Let's bring that up.
What is it?
Well, Trump initially paused immigration because of the virus, and the one thing he did leave open was H-1Bs, because I guess he thought that we needed some, and he actually expanded the ban and is now banning H-1Bs temporarily, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with the H-1B visa system. Like,
can y'all explain what that is first? Because I don't know what it is. Maybe someone else does.
H-1B visas for like skilled workers. So what you'll typically find, they largely come from two countries. Most of them come from India. The others, most of the other ones come from like China. But basically, it's a way that you can get, it's a non-immigrant visa. So you can apply for a green card after you've been there for like 6 years. But like if you're from India, the chance of you getting one is like you have to wait over 100 years basically because it's a lottery system.
Oh wow!
So that whole thing's screwed up. And the thing with the H-1B is, and I've talked to some people, like I used the app Blind, and a lot of the people on there were like H-1Bs from like India and stuff, and they're all getting butthurt about that. Like now, if a company like Facebook or Google or a real company hires you off of H-1B, that's all right. You're probably gonna be treated well. You're probably not gonna be displacing a worker because they usually pay you the actual wage like what they're supposed to. But they have a few companies, most notably like Tata, Infosys, I think CHL. And there's a few other ones. They have an acronym called WHICH, and they're these companies that basically scam these people from India. I don't know if I can say scam, but they get these guys to come into India thinking like, oh, this is so great in the U.S. You'll make like $60,000 a year, which is like a lot more than what they'd be making in India. But they come here, and a lot of these people, they might not even be that skilled of workers, and they'll throw them on these like shitty trainings for 3 months. They come to the U.S. and they were making $60,000 in San Francisco and stuff. Like the Bay Area, where they might, you might be expecting to make like over $100,000 a year just because of the cost differential, because everything is so expensive over there. So that's how that H-1B system's kind of been abused. Like the good companies are fine, but then you have these shady companies, and they do just so much shady stuff, and it gives like everyone on their bad name. And those companies, the Witch Consortium and all those other like Indian consultancy companies mostly.
Customer service reps, I can't understand.
They contribute like
Donnie, that's racist.
That's not racist.
Well,
I haven't. Western Union did not give me I had an issue with Western Union. I called in, and then the person was talking. I could barely understand them, and they were rude to me. And then they kept hanging up on me, and I was not rude to them.
Al Sharpton on line one. Al Sharpton on line one.
Yeah, no.
Breaking news: we have our first racist black woman ever.
I'm not racist. I was just saying.
I'm giving you a hard time.
Well, in America, only white people can be racist, so don't worry about it.
No, if you're conservative, you can be racist.
Yeah,
That's more accurate, actually.
Yeah, you can only be racist in America if you're white, unless you're a conservative, in which case, if you're a black conservative, you're pretty much fucked. So
yeah, actually, I want to touch something really quickly, but this is actually a good point we're making, because when Biden said that, you ain't black thing, and then the Trump campaign is basically framing it as Biden's racist, and some people on the road were like, oh, this is cringe, bro. This is, they're the real racists, like, cringe. I'm like, no. You know what's beautiful about this is that it creates infighting with them, because you get what I saw online, because start Black Lives Matter protesting the fucking Democrat nominee. That is perfect play. It's like works out beautifully. But continue.
It does work out beautifully.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's an interesting situation, like with those H-1Bs though, because like there's been a lot of cases where these companies have gotten rid of American jobs. Like there was one case where I think it was Disney. They outsourced their whole IT department to these Indian consultancy companies.
Jesus.
And they end up like displacing over 100 workers. Instead of paying them like $100K plus a year, they paid them like $60,000, because $60,000 is the magic number for H-1Bs, where if you're like making less than that, then you'll get like audited a lot more. So they basically abuse that system. And yeah, like I think what Trump did was right. And I think once he returns, he needs to go and basically make these companies like Tata and Infosys so their business model doesn't exist anymore. He needs to find a way to again ban those companies specifically, because H-1B has a use in like very in limited amount and for very particular skill sets, but it's being abused by these people to the point where you can't even like where they're displacing American workers, and that's never what H-1B was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be to go and help people find jobs, like help companies fill positions for jobs that just don't exist here. But and other companies sometimes will screw people over with that too, and so they'll put out these job ads with requirements that are like ridiculous. Like you need to have like 8 years and a master's degree and get paid $60,000. So that's one way that some companies will abuse that as well. Like I just found this whole rabbit hole of like disgusting activity from these companies, and it just kind of bewilders me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up, because that's something that a lot of people hear that term thrown around, H-1Bs, and nobody's really properly explained what it is, its effects, and really how especially these tech companies just sort of take advantage of basically cheap labor. It's really all it is.
It's not all of them too. It's like there's a difference between if you're an H-1B hired by a real company and one hired by one of these, like they call them body shops, because that's exactly what they are. It's almost like a form of modern day slavery in a certain, like they've been compared to that, like because you can't really complain about, like you don't want to lose your job, because if you do, you're kicked out of the country. And And you can't complain like about sexual harassment or like in a lot of cases because there's a fear where you'll be deported because the company might fire you. And since you're like basically a contractor, they can fire you for whatever reason. And they'll have these people, I've seen articles and stuff where people reported that they're working over 60 hours a week and they're only reporting 40. So it's just like it screws people all around. The only people who really gain are those companies, allegedly. I just want to preface that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And if anyone, and like whenever someone brings up like these things, they're like, oh, Trump hates them because they're immigrants. Like, no, one, it's a non-immigrant visa, and especially if you're from India, you're likely not going to get a green card at all because of the wait time. Like, unless you're here for like, 20, 30 years, 40 years, and you keep getting the visa extensions, you're put in a bad place. And it allows like toxic cultures and companies to persist because these people ain't going to complain. They don't want to lose that job. It won't really be, I guess you'd probably compare it more to indentured servitude more than slavery. Because, these people are making money, but a lot of these people, they're making basically a pittance. Like, try living off of like 60 grand a year in, like a high cost, like New York City or Seattle or San Francisco. You're not going to be able to live any sort of comfortable life. Like, you'll see like 4 people living in like an apartment for like 1, and it's sad. And on top of that too, some of these companies, like, they'll just flat out have these people lie in their resumes allegedly, like where they'll say, oh, I've had this much experience, and then the American doesn't get the job, and it drives the wages down when this happens. But like if an actual company does what they're supposed to do, you're supposed to pay them slightly like above the average wage. But because of the way that works, you might be hired in like the middle of bumblefuck nowhere as like a software developer, where you might only expect to be making like $65,000 a year, and then they'll move you to California and they won't give you a cost of living increase. On top of that too, they'll usually pay for you to initially come here, but then you have to go and pay for your like visa fees. And there's been cases, I think it was either Tata or Infosys, they were basically having these employees for the H-1B visa send over their tax returns to the companies, and the companies were pocketing it.
Wow.
Like, just flat out abusive workers. And no one talks about this because they think it's like a race issue. They think it's like, oh yeah, they don't like Indian people. No, like that's not the issue over here. The issue is people being massively exploited. And they have nothing to show for it. They're making 60 grand in like San Francisco. If they send anything back home, they have like basically nothing. They're pretty much fucking poor at that point, even though they have whatever degree, and they're working like in the high tech field, and they're basically stuck with that company because a lot of medium-sized companies and stuff, they don't want to sponsor H-1Bs because there's a lot of like paperwork going with it. Now, like Facebook, Google, Amazon, they can do it because they have whole departments who know how the fuck to do it. But, most smaller companies, unless it was like made by immigrants, aren't going to want to go through the hassle because there's like a whole lottery system. And, that's another thing these companies do too, is like they'll basically lie allegedly on the forms and say there's more job openings than really exist. So that way they can flood the amount of applications they have for H-1B, so they can basically bring these people in here. And there's other like smaller ones that have been alleged to actually be involved with like human trafficking, not just with like H-1B visas, but like summer work visas, like J-1s. And they basically get these like girls from like Europe and East Asia to come over to the US and basically sell them into slavery.
Yeah, that's been a big problem here in Florida in particular. That's how a lot of the human trafficking cartels work. So
well, it's not even just Florida too. It's like, this is probably gonna sound weird, but like a lot of those like massage parlors, there's a reason why there's certain connotations with those places. A lot of them are involved with human trafficking. Like, geez, remember when I was at Penn State, I was bored one day and I kept hearing about this like Backpages website. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go and look around here and see what the fuck I find. And and that was basically a human trafficking website. They were all like mostly Asian girls on there. Like, It was disgusting. I never like talked to anyone on there, but I was just like, yeah, I can see why people want to take down this website.
Oh, you want extra special massage for extra special price?
Like, and I knew like when I was playing Pokemon Go back when that was like the week or two or the month when it like first came out, I was at the YMCA because there was like 3 Pokemon like I don't know gyms or something or Pokemarts, whatever the fuck it was, right in like a circle. And if you sat in the median in the middle of the street, you would like be right in the middle. You just had to go and sit down there and keep tapping. But I was talking to this dude over there, and he was like telling me, "Oh yeah, like he knew like this, like he told me like a special like code language you could use if you ever want to go to an Asian massage parlor and get a happy ending or whatever. Like it's a real thing, you know. Like there's a lingo with that stuff."
Alex, how do you spend your time online?
Well, that was in person. That was Pokemon Go.
Jesus.
That's what I have. That's what I have to wonder though. So, John Arcade comments. I just came back to jerk off parlors. Nice. Well, I mean, in our defense, John, and we did spend like the last half hour talking about creepy Biden and like her sniffing. So.
Yeah, no, but like it's a huge problem over here, and most people don't see it. And like I know even at Penn State there was a Chinese restaurant. It was, I think it used to be near, maybe it was a restaurant. I think it was the one that was near the Five Guys, and like they got busted for like human trafficking once, and the other time I think they failed a food inspection. I forget the name of it, but like there was a whole article about it.
I think it's Little Szechuan.
And I don't know if it was maybe it was that. I don't know. Allegedly, I think I'd look at the article for that.
Were they serving dog at the restaurant too?
I don't know, man. Come upstairs for the prostitutes, come downstairs for the
kids.
Cheap Chinese food. And I had to go and look it up. There was one, like, there's so many Chinese restaurants at Penn State. You know,
hey, they got those international kids. You gotta feed them.
Like Jay Garden Rice Bowl, like Fuji and Jade, like blah blah. Like there's so many of these fucking places.
Oh, you want chicken fried rice? You want chicken fried rice? Hold on. Here, Fido. Here, Fido.
Yeah, like it was fucking. I don't know. I was talking to this one dude too. Like when I was in like the college ISC, I was having a smoke, and this guy was telling me how like he went over to, I think it was that what's that place, like the hookah bar, and there was like you found some prostitute there, and he like hit her up.
Oh, crime.
And then he like tried to blackmail him and say that he raped her if she didn't like get an extra like $20.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And like when I used to go use this like one dating site, I saw this like one fat girl on there. She was like selling sex for a fucking phone case.
What?
Like, yeah. Like it was some just bizarre shit. And like, man, you find some degenerate shit when you're at fucking Penn State.
Well, I think that's a lovely way to end this show because we're getting around 1:38, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to go to bed soon. I don't know about you guys, but we can talk a little bit off air about some stuff. But
sure. I just want to read this one comment from Johnny. He goes, "Whatever happened to taking a girl to dinner and a movie?" Dude, yeah, that's a good comment. So yeah.
In movie theaters anymore. Well, I mean there are, but they ain't open most places.
Well,
rip for Chuck E. Cheese, by the way. Rip.
Yeah,
Did you guys see that? Corona,
well, I mean,
because of the virus, I think Chuck E. Cheese is filing for bankruptcy.
No, I actually saw a video on that today. It wasn't just the virus. They had been hemorrhaging money for months after they got bought up by this.
Yeah, they were.
I think it was a venture capitalist firm. Like that always seems to happen. They'll buy it and they force Chuck E. Cheese to spend $1 billion or something.
So basically, like
money to purchase Peter Piper's Pizza in like Texas, I think.
Sounds like then there were a lot of problems leading up to this, but like the virus was like the final nail in the coffin.
Oh yeah, but they've been running at a loss for like 4 years. So, I mean, the writing was on the wall. You know.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's fucked them up the ass, basically.
Well, that's for adults, though.
I mean, I never real liked Chuck E. Cheese as a kid. That place freaks me out.
Same.
You know, even like as a kid, like you remember when you know your your parents would warn you about, like stranger danger and
Yeah,
you know.
this fucking
Yeah,
giant rat in
the
costume
guy-
comes up.
Yeah, the rat in the costume's a total pedophile. He's, hey kids, you want to touch my penis?
You know, I would think after
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's, like Chuck E. Cheese would have done really well because they're all the kids like that stupid shit.
Yeah.
No, Johnny says I don't understand Chuck E. Cheese. Who the fuck likes rat? Well, exactly. That's what that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, who the fuck makes their brand associate with a rat? Like, think about
I mean,
that.
You know, it was I saw the
Optics
story. on
check.
this. It was originally a coyote costume, but it looked like a rat. So
Man,
just,
it deviated, didn't it?
yeah, it was like.
I mean, a coyote isn't that much better though, to be honest.
No, at least it's like a dog or something. You know, it can be like that can be. You can have some like room to play with that, but a fucking rat. That's the shit you see in like the New York sewers. Like, what were they thinking? Like in hindsight.
You know what? I think Chuck E. Cheese inspired Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dude, I believe it. I believe it.
It's just like a fucking rat with pizza and like stupid like 80s. It's fucking Chuck E. Cheese, man.
The reason why Dave and Buster's kicks ass is because like Dave and Buster's, like, yeah, they have, like the arcade and whatnot for kids, but it's, classy, and then like they have a full, like they have like a really nice bar area for, adults. So
yeah. Like I think I've been by one once, but like I always thought you had to be an adult to go in there.
I mean,
I'm an adult now, so I always could, but I just.
You can go into Dave and Buster's if you're a kid. You just have to be accompanied by your parents. So.
What even is that? I'm not gonna lie, I've never even heard that place before.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's. It's like Chuck E. Cheese for adults.
Never heard of it.
Not
beer,
not,
video games, sports.
It's not even really comparable. It kind of is in terms of that, but it's like an arcade / like pool hall for adults. So.
Yeah, the nearest one for me is literally 20. It's in Philly. Yeah, that's why I've never been to it.
Well, yeah, you're kind of out in the sticks there.
No,
so.
You're not out in the sticks. You're in like a fucking like ritzy
I'm in a
ass.
suburb. No, I'm in a suburb.
Yeah, you get like $300,000 plus house. Like,
oh wait, that's gay liberal Jeff who is out in the sticks that I'm thinking of, or at least he was. So
yeah, the Chuck E. Cheese's ultimate downfall was when Jerry Sandusky was put in prison. Yeah, the biggest customer just went away to prison, and it went all to hell.
To be honest, you might not even be half wrong. Yeah. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. I heard before he went to jail, he tried opening a department store.
What was it called?
No, it was called Jerry's. But the thing was, they had a sale like right before he got arrested. Boys' underwear was half off.
Oh shit!
Well, when you think about it, isn't Chuck E. Cheese basically like just a fucking casino for kids?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, there was a headline that said like beloved childhood rats, like beloved rat-themed childhood casino shuts down. Like, yep, that's accurate.
I think I've been there once or twice.
That's when you know. that's when you know the Onion is no longer satire. So.
Well, it's not even just Chuck E. Cheese. Like a lot of arcades are pretty much just like kid casinos. But it's cool though. I love arcades.
Me too. I miss them.
And I've actually never been to an actual casino, so
I've been walk through one, and I was like, I didn't like it.
Dude, there was like a hacking conference at one. I went there once, and like, it was cool, but like I kept playing the slot machine. I kept losing, and I got pissed off, and I left.
Rage quit. Well, I'm gonna shut the stream down because it's getting late, but we can keep shooting the show off stream if you guys want. We'll see you guys later for another Real News Anarchy, or Yeah, this is anarchy. This is fucking
Are we
anarchy.
still Anarchy? Did they ever shut that down?
Well, at the beginning of the episode, I said, "Oh yeah, you weren't here." I think the Proud Boys threatened to show up, and so if Antifa literally fucking left, they booked it, but there's still some there holding down a small part of it. And I think the mayor then. Oh yeah, that was the other thing too. Is then the mayor finally said like, "We gotta shut this shit down." After Proud Boys said they might come, and now they're holding off like just right where the police station is. I think. Oh, sorry, I'm burping now, but. Yeah, that's what basically happened. But we'll see you guys later. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all the social media.
And also thanks for tuning in to the Whitfield Report tonight, folks. We've had a great show tonight, and thanks to the Verse Media guys for joining me for the crossover as well. And of course, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @somebody_NDC, Parlor at Sam Whitfield and Gab as well. Facebook.com/Whitfield Report, thesamwhitfield.com, and all of that. Doing my links at the end here. But, that's the way we do things.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in, and God bless everyone, and I'll see you on the next program. God bless.
Later, Gators.
Take it easy.
Wash your hands.